The morning sun draped Portland in gold. Soft light made the city look forgiving. At Pine and 8th, a bakery stirred. Little Sunrise Bakery opened with warm cinnamon air. It was an ordinary morning, almost, until two small voices changed everything forever. "Sir, please, can we pay you later? Our mom's sick. She couldn't get up today." The cashier froze, hand gripping a loaf midair. Silence thickened behind the counter's soft hum. Two little girls stood on tired toes. Their twin braids trembled with quiet hunger. They weren't more than 7 or 8, matching coats, patched knees, soft eyes, hopeful, fragile. Anyone would have stopped. Someone did. Behind them stood Adrian Miles, sharp suit, colder soul. A man used to buying everything but peace. He had come for coffee, not miracles. But fate doesn't ask permission to arrive. His gaze lingered on those shaking hands. Something deep inside him shifted, almost painfully. Mr. Thompson, the baker, spoke softly, uneasy. "Girls, you know we don't keep tabs." Hazel's lip trembled. Grace held her hand tight. "Please, sir. We haven't eaten since yesterday." Adrian felt the words strike like a stone. Maybe it was their honesty, too pure. Maybe it was memory, too close to ignore. He had once known hunger of another kind. Before thinking, Adrian stepped toward the counter. "How much for the bread?" His voice broke silence. Mr. Thompson blinked, unsure what to say. "$3.25, he murmured after a pause. Adrian pulled a note from his wallet. "Cover theirs," he said, "and keep the change." Hazel blinked in confusion. Grace just stared. "Thank you, sir. We'll pay you back soon." Adrian smiled faintly. "No need. Just take care." They clutched the bread like something holy. At the door, light framed their small silhouettes. Hazel waved shyly. Grace smiled, soft and brave. Then they were gone, two miracles in motion. Adrian didn't move. The baker whispered quietly, "Good people still exist, Mr. Miles." "Rarely." But Adrian barely heard. Something felt heavier now. The air itself seemed changed, charged with meaning. He stepped outside, city noise pressing close. Portland bustled, unaware of his quiet storm. He could have returned to his tower of glass. He could have buried this in work and wealth. But the words followed him like a ghost. "Can we pay later? Our mom's really sick." He turned a corner, scanning faces unconsciously. He saw them in his mind again. Thin arms, old shoes, one loaf like treasure. He stopped by a cafe window, breath shallow. His reflection stared back, flawless, unfamiliar, cold. For the first time, he didn't recognize himself. Why did this matter so much now? Why did their voices pierce his indifference? Kindness, once felt, refuses to be forgotten. Back at Harbor View Hotel, marble gleamed cold. The elevator whispered, his penthouse waited above. City lights shimmered like promises without warmth. But he couldn't stop seeing those trembling hands. He unpacked groceries, fruit, pastries, imported water. Everything felt tasteless, weightless, unearned. Outside, Portland glowed beneath the fading sun. Somewhere, two little girls were feeding hope. Somewhere, a mother waited in quiet pain. And somewhere inside, Adrian Miles began to change. That night, he didn't sleep at all. What began with bread had become something else. A question, a purpose, a spark reborn within. Adrian Miles didn't return for several days, but the twins haunted his every thought. He had mastered forgetting, until now. He forgot hunger once, but not anymore. Their small voices replayed like a broken hymn. "Can we pay later? Mom's really sick." He tried drowning the echo in meetings. Contracts, figures, calls, none silenced the whisper. Every success now felt strangely hollow, weightless. From his penthouse window, the city glittered cold. Headlights flowed like veins through Portland's heart. He could buy anything, except peace of mind. Ethan Cruz, his loyal assistant, noticed first. "You've been quiet lately," Ethan finally said. "Too quiet. Even for you, sir." Adrian kept his eyes on the skyline. "Ethan, I need you to do something." Ethan hesitated, sensing the gravity beneath calm. "Of course, sir. Anything you need." Adrian turned slowly, voice low but firm. "Find out who those girls were." Ethan frowned. "The twins from the bakery?" Adrian nodded once. "Yes, I need to know." Ethan blinked, surprised. "That's unusual for you." "I just want to make sure they're okay." Ethan studied him a long moment, thoughtful. Then he nodded. "All right, I'll find them." Money could open doors. Compassion opened hearts. It took Ethan only a few days. When he returned, he carried a folder. He placed it gently on Adrian's desk. "Hazel and Grace Bennett," Ethan began softly. "They live with their mother, Claire Bennett." He paused, glancing up, his tone somber. "East Side, near Burnside. Old apartment complex." Adrian's fingers brushed the folder's rough edge. The name alone carried unexpected weight. Claire Bennett, ordinary, fragile, forgotten by fortune. He opened the file with careful hands. Inside were photos, notes, addresses, quiet truths. A family surviving where the city forgot to look. Rain began to fall beyond the glass. Drops streaked down like tears unshed too long. Adrian's reflection shimmered faintly, blurred and human. For the first time, he felt something real. He whispered to himself, almost afraid to breathe. No one should have to beg for bread. The rain had stopped, but the streets glistened. Adrian's car rolled through Portland's east side slowly. Billboards faded into cracked walls and peeling paint. Luxury disappeared. Life here was stripped bare. A stray dog barked at passing wheels. Adrian's suit felt wrong here, too polished. He loosened his tie, exhaled, and parked quietly. The apartment stood tired, bricks stained by time. A broken swing creaked in the courtyard wind. He climbed the narrow stairs, heart unsteady, unsure. Outside the Bennett door, he hesitated, listening. A woman coughed softly from inside. A child's voice murmured, "Mom, drink some water." He knocked gently, 3 soft, uncertain taps. The door opened halfway, revealing Hazel's eyes. Recognition flickered, then surprise, then quiet disbelief. "Sir, you're the man from the bakery." Her voice was small, threaded with wonder. Adrian smiled faintly, warmth breaking his composure. "May I come in for a moment?" Hazel looked back, then nodded hesitantly. Grace peeked from behind a torn curtain. Inside smelled of medicine, damp, and hope. The walls carried drawings colored by small dreams. Claire Bennett lay on the couch, pale, frail. Her breathing rasped, but her smile was soft. Adrian placed the grocery bag on the table. "I brought something," he said quietly, almost shy. Bread, soup, fruit, all the things he once ignored. Grace's eyes widened, a spark of joy returned. Claire struggled to sit, voice faint but kind. "You didn't have to—" "Thank you, sir." Adrian shook his head, eyes steady, voice gentle. "Please don't call me sir. Call me Adrian." Silence hung like prayer between weary walls. For a moment, time itself seemed to pause. Hazel poured tea in chipped porcelain cups. Adrian took a sip, his throat tightening quietly. The room was poor, yet rich in heart. Something about it made him ache deeply. He had known luxury, but never warmth like this. When he finally stood to leave, Hazel spoke. "Will you come back, Mr. Adrian?" she asked. He smiled softly. "Yes, I think I will." Outside, the evening sky was bruised and gold. The city lights blinked like distant stars below. Adrian Miles walked back to his car changed. Not richer, not poorer, just more human again. Days passed, but Adrian couldn't stay away. Something about the Bennetts pulled him back. Each visit felt less like charity, more purpose. He brought groceries, medicine, sometimes just quiet company. Grace showed him her drawings, bright worlds on paper. Hazel helped her mother fold clean laundry carefully. Claire's color returned slowly, though her strength wavered. Adrian often stayed, fixing what time had broken. He replaced the flickering bulb in their hallway. He tightened the leaking faucet by the sink. Little things, but they mattered deeply to them. For the first time, he felt useful again. The twins laughed whenever he mispronounced silly words. Their joy was pure, untainted by wealth. It filled the apartment like sunlight through dust. One evening, Hazel handed him a folded note. "Mom says you should have this," she whispered. Inside, in shaky handwriting, Claire had written, "Thank you for seeing us. Not our struggle." Adrian read it twice, then looked at her. Her eyes were soft, but full of strength. "I don't deserve thanks," he murmured quietly. Claire smiled faintly. "Then earn it, Mr. Miles." The words struck deeper than she realized. That night he sat by his window thinking. The city shimmered, but it looked different now. Every light felt like a life he'd ignored. He picked up his phone, called Ethan slowly. "Find out about the shelter funding proposals again." Ethan paused, confused. "You rejected those last month?" Adrian's voice was firm. "We're approving them now." The next weeks blurred with purpose and motion. Adrian spent less time in his corner office. He met people, listened, learned, and started to care. The Bennett family had changed his definition of success. One rainy evening, he visited them again. Grace was drawing by candlelight, humming softly. Hazel was reading aloud from an old book. Claire smiled, stronger now, wrapped in a warm blanket. Adrian brought a small cake, candles flickering gently. Grace clapped. Hazel laughed. It was pure happiness. For once, the walls didn't feel small anymore. They felt like home, something money couldn't recreate. When he left that night, Hazel followed quietly. "Mr. Adrian," she whispered, clutching her small coat. "Are you lonely in your big house?" she asked. Adrian froze, surprised by her innocent question. He knelt, meeting her eyes, voice soft, raw. "Sometimes," he said, "but it's less lonely now." Hazel smiled and hugged him tightly, wordlessly grateful. For Adrian Miles, that single hug meant everything. The boardroom smelled of money and tension. Glass walls reflected power dressed in precision. Adrian entered, calm but burning inside. "Mr. Miles," one director began, voice cold, "these donations, this outreach, hurt our quarterly projections." Adrian listened, fingers steepled beneath steady eyes. "I'm aware," he said, voice low, deliberate. "But profits mean nothing if purpose is lost." A murmur rippled across the sleek conference table. The chairman leaned forward, words sharp as steel. "You're mixing sentiment with business, Adrian. Dangerous habit." Adrian met his gaze, unflinching and clear. "Maybe business needs a little sentiment again." Silence hung like smoke in the air. No one dared breathe too loudly now. The old guard smelled rebellion, quiet but certain. When the meeting adjourned, Ethan caught his breath. "You really said that?" he asked, half laughing. Adrian smiled faintly. "I really meant that." Outside, rain streaked down the mirrored windows. He watched the city blur beneath the storm. For the first time, he felt clean again. That night, he returned to the east side. The apartment glowed faintly through cracked window glass. Inside, laughter spilled like warmth into the street. Grace showed him another drawing, him beside them all. Claire looked up, surprise softening into quiet joy. "You shouldn't have come tonight," she whispered gently. "Storm's bad." He smiled. I've been through worse. They shared dinner, soup, bread, and simple conversation. No suits, no pretense, just human connection. When he left, Claire stood by the door. "You've done more than enough," she told him softly. Adrian shook his head. "Not nearly enough yet." Outside, thunder rolled across Portland's sleeping skyline. He walked slowly, shoes splashing through silver puddles. In his heart, something powerful had shifted forever. The man who once measured worth in numbers now measured it in faces, voices, kindness. And somewhere in the dark, the world exhaled.